Hey guys, Paul here again, and in this video I'm going to review the willing.com do-it-yourself will creation website. Alright, so over the years we've seen a lot of companies in this kind of do-it-yourself estate planning, do-it-yourself will creation, do-it-yourself power of attorney. There's a lot of companies out there that that are doing that. You know, the one I see most, and probably the one you see most because they advertise on TV a lot and they're on the internet, is LegalZoom.com, and then there's a host of a bunch of others, and I could maybe reel 10 of them, you know, just right off my tongue. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I, take a closer look at some of these and then, make some videos and give you my opinion on, whether they're worth it. So I started to look around, and I've been getting some Facebook ads, and I almost hate to say that I'm on Facebook, but maybe the few minutes a day that I'm on Facebook, quite frankly, is too many minutes for me because it's just a waste of time. But anyway, this is not a knock on Facebook, but when I do go on Facebook, I see these pop up from a willing.com, advertisement. And so I said, well, let me look through that one. I looked through a couple of others as well. And I will say, I didn't pay for anything. I didn't enter any credit card information, but I took a pretty good deep dive into it, and willing.com is one of those that they let you kind of answer the questions and even see what your will would look like before you have to enter in any payment information. And then once you enter the payment information, then it kind of spits out the form with all of the appropriate signature documentation and all of that. And so I said, well, let me take a closer look at it. And in reality, I've been an estate planning attorney for 29 years, and I've had a lot of very frank conversations with many people, and not many people have ever admitted to me that they've attempted to use one of these, do-it-yourself online websites. But I'm sure some people are, maybe many people are. Over the years, I've had a couple of people. I remember a couple of years ago, a guy brought in his, it was a blue box. It was his Susie Orman Living Trust kit that he bought on QVC. And he wanted me to review the whole kit on his behalf. And of course, he wanted me to transfer all of his property to his trust. And, I kind of politely told him to take a hike. Got a call last week from somebody who parents wanted to leave their home to one of their daughters, and they had bought the Susie Orman kit. And of course, they needed help transferring the property to the trust. Kind of told them to take a hike in a polite way. So I've seen those a couple of times. A couple of people have admitted that kind of at the last minute they did the LegalZoom power of attorney. But boy, I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, every day, every week, every month, every year. And just the online stuff doesn't come up much. I guess we'll see it in the future. And maybe it's because most of my clientele, they're older. They're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, and they're, not quite as online savvy and don't want to use the online stuff, feel comfortable talking to a lawyer. But whatever the case may be, I haven't had many people tell me they've either used it or attempted to use it. Now, full disclosure, I am an estate planning attorney, and I know that when I read articles on the internet or watch videos on YouTube, estate planning attorneys pretty much come down hard. They bash the online legal document stuff because, quite frankly, it's in the lawyer's best interest to bash that stuff so more people will continue going to lawyers. I get that. And then also, in full disclosure, I'll admit I'm working on a website where people can create their own simple estate planning legal documents, particularly that set of folks who, parents with minor kids. They often don't have the time or the money to hire lawyers, like myself, and go through the process the way retired people often go through it. So full disclosure there, but nonetheless, let's get back to the one I did take a look at, willing.com. I got to give them credit. They do let you answer the questions. They do take kind of assemble the document immediately and let you take a look at it. I did it. Whoop! Oh, I dropped my clicker. they do let you, I looked at it on my PC and I didn't do it on my phone, but maybe it works there as well. But and I was kind of cautiously optimistic that I might, see something that kind of works or would at least work for families here in my area. But I had some big problems with willing.com, and it didn't take me too long to find those problems. So let me lay out just a couple of problems that I found. Again, I didn't pay and go through the whole process, but I attempted my best to kind of answer the questions and see what it came up with. But these online do-it-yourself websites, create your own will, they're really, I think, slanted and marketed toward those parents with younger kids. If you look at the willing.com, they have a few videos on their YouTube channel, and most of their promotional stuff was maybe parents being interviewed on the YouTube video, and them talking about how they have 2 small children, 3 small children, want to take care of their family, want to protect their kids. And so, and quite frankly, I think the people who are more likely to take advantage of the do-it-yourself online will creation, companies are those busy parents with young children. Number one, they're busy. Number two, they quite frankly don't have enough income to hire what they perceive as expensive lawyers. And then, they're just more comfortable, using websites for that kind of thing, more so than the older generation is. So I think a lot of this do-it-yourself stuff is really marketed to those parents with minor kids. If you watch a LegalZoom commercial, a lot of times you'll see a young couple with taking their baby out of the crib and talking about wanting to protect that by getting their will done. Okay, so when you have a parent or a couple who has minor kids and they want to get their estate in order, they essentially have 2 goals. Most of them 2 goals and 2 goals only. Goal number 1 is they want to name a guardian for their minor kids. If the parents die, they want to be able to designate in their will who's going to be those backup parents, who can raise our kids, have those parental rights if we pass away while our children have not yet reached the age of 18 or the age of majority. That's one thing the parents of minor kids are trying to accomplish with their will or estate plan. The other thing they're trying to accomplish with their will is to make sure that the inheritance for their children is handled by the right people and is managed long enough so that the young children don't get their hands on it before the children have become mature enough to handle it for themselves. That's where I have a problem, because in the will form that that willing.com produces, the only option is there's a provision that says if any child of mine is under 18 years of age, the guardian shall serve as custodian under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act until he or she reaches the age of 18. And of all the wills that I've done for parents with minor children in the last 29 years, and there has been a lot of them, I've never had one parent tell me, Paul, all of this stuff that we're leaving for our kids, if something happens to me or if something happens to me and my spouse, we have life insurance, we have 401ks, we have our house, we have our savings. Let's just dump it all into their laps on their 18th birthday. That's what's best for our minor kids. Never had anybody in the history of my estate planning law practice tell me that. But that's the only option that you have with willing.com. There is no option for the parents to say, we want it to go into a trust for our children. We'd like so-and-so to be the trustee, and we'd like that trust to be used for their education, and then they'd get the principal maybe 1/3 at 25, 1/2 at 30, and then the rest at 35, or they get it at 25, or they get it when they graduate from college, or they get it half when they're 25 and the rest when they're 30. But I've never had anybody say, let's dump it in their laps at 18. And to the best of my knowledge, and hey, if you're a willing.com user or owner, prove me wrong in the comments below, but the way I see it, the only option is dumping in their laps at age 18. So since it's just not an option, and I guess it's the owner of willing.com, because I went to their YouTube channel and I watched, I think it was about a 3-minute video, that guy who owned or created willing.com made a statement that they brought together the best legal minds from Harvard Law School and Yale Law School and the personal attorneys of some of the wealthiest people in the country. Well, show me one of those Harvard or Yale law graduates, or one of those personal attorneys of some of the wealthiest people in the country who have ever written a will that said someone's minor parents get the entire estate dumped in their lap on the child's 18th birthday. I bet it doesn't exist. So, I think that was, I just, when I saw that, heard that, read that, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So that's a big problem. Another problem, I almost feel like it's not even worth mentioning it, but I live here in Louisiana, and we have these forced heirship laws that says if you are a parent and you have kids who are 23 or younger when you die, you can't leave everything to your spouse. You have to leave things to your children, but you don't want to leave it to them outright. You want to leave it so that it goes in trust for your spouse, for your children to get it when your spouse dies. Or in Louisiana, we have this other form of ownership called usufruct to your spouse. When your spouse dies or remarries, perhaps it goes to the children then. But certainly those are not even an option under the willing.com. I mean, that's just way beyond kind of the willing.com scope. So I'm here to say that other than the fact that you can name a guardian, I almost feel like it's almost better to have nothing than to have a willing.com will that's so restrictive, and the provisions of that will are so limiting that and I get it that in their advertisements, people are supposed to feel good because they have a will. Oh, we got a will done, we feel so much better. That's really not what people should be saying, because just having a will is not what enables, or not, is not what should enable you to have that sense of relief. It's having the will with all of the appropriate protections in place. So you can't just have a will and say, oh man, we are great, we have a will. It's got to do the things that you would want it to do for your family to protect what you have for your family. And the willing.com site, particularly since they're marketing to parents with minor kids, and I've never seen a parent with minor child say dump it into their laps at age 18, which is what the willing.com software appears to require. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm gonna give willing.com a kind of a D- on their program there. Now, I will admit I didn't pay, so I didn't see the final product. I think the final product produces it with all of the appropriate signature pages on it. But and I got to give willing.com credit. At least they let me answer the questions and see what the will would look like if I did pay for it. Other websites don't even do that. So, I learned so much from doing this. Well, I guess what I'm going to have to do is pony up the money and take those 8 or 10 top programs and go through the exercise, see what it produces, try to do certain things, see if the software enables me to do it, take a look at the final product, and then give you my reviews from there as well. If any of you software companies want to, want me to go through that, I'll be happy to do it. If you want to send me some kind of code or something to get to go through the exercise, be happy to give you my kind of honest report on what I find. So real important here, make sure so that you don't miss anything. You hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Feel free to give it a thumbs up too. The YouTube algorithms love that. My first real review of an online do-it-yourself will creation website. More to come in future videos. In fact, you can tune in 10 a.m. Central Time every morning for more estate planning education on YouTube. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.